All right, so welcome everyone. Very interesting times right now, and that is why we have for you Amit Gupta sir, and we are here to understand these times and what lies ahead in these times. So, sir, we just had our general election results come out, and everybody is wondering अब क्या होगा, कहाँ opportunities बनेंगी, कहाँ नहीं बनेंगी, and what's gonna happen. So, first of all, thank you for taking out time for us and helping us navigate through these murky waters or difficult to understand waters, to say, put it in a better way. I'll get right to the meat of the topic, sir. My first question is कि अभी तक I think a lot of policies from the government have been around capex growth. From here on, what do you envision? Where do you see government's focus will be? Will it still be in capex, or do you think there might be some additional angles to it as well?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, and this is very common question also now. So after the election outcome, because what people were expecting, it has not been actually, exactly like that. So disappointment definitely has come in terms of the single largest party. Everyone was expecting it should be, with the majority. It has not happened, and the government also, if you look at the prime minister in his previous avatar of Gujarat chief minister or the last 10 years also. So they have been running a single largest party with majority. So they have been able to take reform. So this is a big question whether with the help of supporters now, are you able to do the same? Will you grow with the same pace? Will you take those harsh decisions? Or will there be any hindrance actually in between? So obviously the time will tell this. But I think the NDA government is coming back. Obviously, this is what we are seeing right now. And eventually, if you look at the supporters also, I think the TDP support, because they are also quite infra pro. And so the majority numbers are very much clearly there. And this is where I think the government will not stop. I think they will continue the good show what they have been doing before election. They have a clear Viksit Bharat kind of concept, for 2047, which they need to bring down to 5 years, and then in the coming 100 days plan, which Mr. Modi has been talking about. I think that is where the focus will go now. So yes, one thing is definitely there, that wherever the valuations have gone higher, because exit polls forecasted a very, very green picture, which did not happen. So people had formed a lot of long positions, so I think from that perspective, some jitters, nervousness can remain, volatility may be there, ministry distribution will be there. If some hiccups come actually in the ministry distribution, then also some kind of volatility can emerge. So this is where some money flow definitely can go into some other segments, as you rightly said. So I feel 70% of the portfolio will remain. I think 20-30% of the portfolio, you may have to do some rebalancing, moving into some other sectors which have not performed so far.
Right, absolutely, sir. Sir, I think two themes which have been investors' hot favorite over the past few years because they have given skyrocketing returns have been, one has been defense and the other one has been renewable energy. So it has caught the fantasy of the masses in a way that this is where the next generation of wealth lies. So what's your view on these two sectors from here on?
See, I think government has taken really big steps. When you talk about defense, I think there is completely transformation in this sector. And they have also given a lot of presentations to FDIs, and it is open to 100% FDI now through the government route. So it makes sense. And if you look at it, is not only we are manufacturing for ourselves, we are manufacturing for outsiders also. So a lot of export orders are coming now. If you look at Egypt, they have given almost 100 Tejas, numbers now. And Tejas, which is a light combat aircraft, it is replacing MiG-21 slowly and Mirage 2000, which we used to take from Russia and France before. And this is where the things, I think, have reached to a level from where it will grow only. And you take the countries, I mean, after Egypt, we saw the orders came from Malaysia. Almost 80 numbers has come, and they have taken the provisioning of another 100 aircrafts. Argentina has given order of 12 aircrafts. And we are seeing the countries like Australia, even US. Had you thought that US also will come and start purchasing from India? That is the case now. And you look, and now HAL is trying to open the base in Malaysia. so that they can cater more to the Royal Malaysian Air Force. So things are going that much, and I think it may not stop. You look at the order book position now. So, for example, HAL has an order book of 94,000 crores. In the coming 2 years, they are expecting now extra 1,20,000 crores. So that means almost 60-70% of the current order book every year you can generate. You look at Bharat Electronics, 74,000 crore, they are expecting another 55,000 crore extra, right? Bharat Dynamics, they have 20,000 crore order book. It started late because of supply chain problems in the missile chips and all which are used. But now they are expecting 80,000 crore extra order book in the coming 3 years, almost 4 times what you have in the coming 2 years. You look at Mazgaon Dock, they have an order book of 38,000 crore. They are talking about more than 1 lakh crore. So I think it is going to expand only because the people have realized the capability of India, the kind of technology required people are ready to give you, and the kind of countries which are coming to purchase, I think it's going to increase only. So from the price perspective, our products, and from the quality perspective, I think it is getting better. And this is where defense is definitely a good theme. Yes, valuations, we need to understand when everyone starts making profits, I think somewhere you need to stop and some consolidation phase comes, and then you can start building up your positions again.
Right, sir. Sir, I think another aspect or another story that had caught fancy of investors almost more than a decade back was bottom at wealth at the bottom of the pyramid. The rural economy, the sectors that were catering to the rural economy and the bottom of the pyramid segment. So do you think they also are poised for a comeback? Because I think for the last decade or so, we have been talking more about industrialization and capex and defense and infrastructure. So that is also has been silent for a while, kind of, and is about to come back.
A very valid question. Actually, this has, because we also go in many conferences, meet many people. This is a very general question that why it is still a K-shaped recovery. And it is not getting all inclusive because the rural area is still under distress. The real income growth is not coming up over there. This is what we heard from the FMCG companies also. In between the FMCG companies, they started facing the challenge of the regional players because somehow the premium products were not getting sold in the FMCG. And that is where what we observe that from that perspective of consumer as a space, I understand the premiumization is continuously working. That is fine. But auto is one sector which has actually really come up. You see, auto has been the beneficiary from all these segments in this consumer cycle. For example, when you talk about premiumization, then you saw Mahindra & Mahindra, it garnered very good profits in the SUV space. SUV has become almost 50% now of the overall passenger vehicle demand. In fact, more than that. Right. When you talk about electric vehicles, you saw how Tata Motors, they are changing the whole GLR concept now. So it is getting overall totally electric by 2025. And outside also there was a premiumization trend going on. So that is the benefit GLR received. Now the whole two-wheeler space, which was not performing, I think this two-wheeler is the first space from the rural link economy where we have seen a good growth coming up now. So we saw almost 20% of growth coming up recently, which was much better than the passenger vehicles of 12% of growth. And this is where Hero MotoCorp, which was the leader before, it started performing of late. And continuously 2 quarters we have seen good results. So I think there is a good scope here. They are also in the electric vehicles. VIDA, they are also looking where Bajaj Auto has a good positioning. And on the domestic front, they are coming with Harley Davidson as a 440cc vehicle. I think this particular segment is obviously growing faster. That means the premium segment, because I tell you the reason for this, what we have been able to understand. See, the order book position in India is definitely coming very good. So the original equipment manufacturers, they are getting orders. It is flowing through the vendor companies, and then it is further moving into the small and medium enterprises. Actually, the promoter group is making good money. This money is moving into the premium segments, and that is where you have seen whether it is housing, whether it is automobile, the premium segments actually are capturing. This trend will continue. Your per capita income also eventually will revive. And this is where I think the mass segment eventually will start coming up. So some commentary from the FMCG, we have seen that some bottom is getting created for rural. I think we have to see the overall trend, but two-wheeler as a space definitely has started picking up of late.
Sounds great, sir. Sir, another question about the overall economy. We have been growing at a mind-boggling pace. I think the last GDP numbers that came. There was some in FY24. There was 8.2% year-on-year growth that we had, and now this is not a. I believe it's not the base effect of COVID also anymore. So we have actually been growing at a breakneck speed. Do you think this is one is? Do you think we will continue to grow at this pace at this speed? And overall, how do you look at our pace of growth in economy?
So I think the economy is is growing better than what the market or the people were expecting. So if you see financial year 24, how many people were expecting it can go above 8% also, right? Last quarter also it came at quarter four financial year 24, it came at 7.8%. Expectation was 7.3%. So it is continuously outclassing the expectations in the market because your manufacturing as a theme has picked up. Investment cycle is picking up, and which what we were talking about, that the corporates who are sitting actually at a much levered balance sheet, they can come up and start doing the private capex. To some extent, it has already started in certain sectors. I think this all is picking up and still at an elevated interest rates. So it is not that you have seen the interest rate cut already started in the economy. When it will happen, I think you will see further pace growing actually here. So this is where our economy, I think the coming financial year 25 also, I think it is expected around 7%. If the government continues with the same pace, same reforms, 100 days announcement, it will give some idea. I think you can expect the confidence coming back into the corporates. And that is where I think it can again, can be better than expectation. And this is where market also will catch up. So market is looking at the GDP growth, no doubt about this. It is a growing market. Investment cycle is there. And obviously, if it starts growing above 7% again, you will see that eventually market will forget what happened now and it will start performing in various sectors.
Right. Absolutely, sir. Sir, let's call it a topic, but another thing that scares investors time and again, a news comes ki inflation itna aaya, utna aaya, and then the market reacts to it, and there is a panic in the market often because of this volatility. If not panic, volatility is at least there based on these numbers, and people look forward to it. So, till what time do you think this inflation is gonna keep scaring us and our investors? And when will the RBI actually ease in on the interest rates?
I think it all depends upon the global interest rate cycle, first of all. I think they will take the action first and we will follow. The reverse is not going to happen. Inflation definitely is one of the parameters. So the growth in US is also good and relatively good actually on the service inflation perspective. That is higher. And we are not sure when that cycle will start of interest rate cut. More expectation is at least 60% possibility right now that in the September policy in US, there may be a cut in interest rate because they have an election in November. So before that, they will try to have 125 bips of rate cut. If that happens, India is already well placed. So if you look at our inflation, it is not very high yet, what we have been used to, right? And going forward, our monsoon is also starting. And in Kerala, we already saw that good monsoon is started. So you will see that this onset of monsoon and also after this election getting over, the next investment cycle can kick in. My sense is that the inflation trajectory, if it remains subdued, then interest rate cut will follow in India also. But we are more growth oriented. Even at these interest rates, we are seeing the things have already started. So it is not that we are waiting so eagerly when that cycle will start. It is more US. And I think this is where if you see the IT sector in India from the capital market perspective, I think they are waiting for the interest rate cut, because if interest rate cut happens over there, then the BFSI segment, they may not delay the projects, right? You never know. Also, it is also on the which president is going to come over there. I think Mr. Trump is coming, then they can think furthermore that how much they can delay. So certain segments in India will start performing like technology if there is a cut in interest rates over there.
Absolutely, sir. Sir, my one final question, which is FIIs. That's yet another topic that has been that has been going on in everybody's minds, and everybody has been wondering about it. I think they have been in a net short position for quite a while now. So, do you think now that the elections are over and things are looking slightly less complicated for them, they'll come back? And if there are any other reasons, what is going on in their mind is broadly what I want to understand from you.
So I think our macro parameters are really good, right? FIIs, they don't invest at elevated levels, but whenever market has corrected, we have seen they have also poured in money. This pattern we are seeing from 2021 onwards. Like previously also we have seen whenever Nifty declines to 5-year average valuation or 10-year average valuation, the FI money has come in. One more variable that you need to add here is dollar index. If dollar index remains subdued, the money comes at 5-year average only. So this time, if you look at what is happening to our earnings, because we need to reach to certain valuation parameter also. So financially at 24, we saw that we had 980 rupees of EPS, which is revised to almost 1005. So financially at 25, very conservatively, even if you take 1100 EPS, at 20,000, you have 18 times of valuation. And your 5-year average is around 18.5. That means you will come below your 5-year average valuation if you suppose you extend the current fall, and dollar index is already subdued, so it is very much likely the FI money can start coming in actually if that thing happens. Or if you suppose you spend more time, 1 or 2 quarters, then that particular average will come up. So I think FIIs, they generally wait for that and then they start pouring money. From the macro perspective, we are doing good. As you mentioned about interest rates, you look at the difference between India and US interest rates now, right? It is also being talked about a lot in the market. We used to be 4-6% gap in interest rates. Now it is 2.5% interest rate. Our bond yields are subdued. That is why it is happening. From May 2022 onwards, we have not seen our 10-year bond yields going beyond 7.6%. In fact, US bond yields had gone from 3.3% to 5% also. Why it is happening? Because this is also the FIs are looking at, right? That is why they are buying India whenever it is available relatively cheaper. Otherwise, India is always available at a premium. So they are also looking at this subdued nature of bond yields because government is not increasing their borrowing, right? They are getting very good taxes. Actually, tax to GDP has gone up. So the GST numbers it is continuously coming above 1.7 lakh crores. In fact, it moved above 2 lakh crores in between. I think this is helping the government and not increasing the borrowing, which is good for bond markets. And from June onwards, I think there is an expectation that JP Morgan flows, bond ETF flows will also come. That will also help to keep the bond yield subdued. This will lead to some sectors like PSU banks performing because they have a larger chunk of bonds. With them, the government bonds. So the treasury profits can revive. So this is how it is helping. A subdued bond market is always good for equity market. This is what is a direct correlation, I feel. This is what I have learned.
Absolutely. This was absolutely amazing, sir. Thank you so much for so many insights. But before I let you go, sir, one final piece of concluding advice for all our viewers, if we can have from you. It can be related to the current markets or in general about everything. Any final concluding piece of advice from you, sir?
So I think markets are really interesting, right? It is not that market is relying only on few stocks. What we saw in the last decade, it is broadening. Market is broadening because government is working on various sectors, various themes, and that is where your reading is very much required. You need to understand all these sectors wherever you are investing. Do a deep dive. And another thing which is coming up now, it is not a market of leaders or challengers. What we used to talk about when the consumer cycle was on, because that time the single company used to take out 70% profitability. You take the case of Asian Paints and etc. etc. This time this is an investment cycle. Investment cycle means every company has its own skill set, right? You take the case of defense. HAL is getting order because of the aircraft manufacturing or fighter aircrafts. Bharat Electronics, which is the direct beneficiary of whatever electronics are used in aircraft or somewhere else, right? Then you have Mazgaon Dock in the shipbuilding. So everyone has its own, skill set, and they are going to get orders as per it. And this is where investment cycle is very interesting. You find more broader market, right? And this is where I think going forward, opportunities are not going to end in India for investment perspective. And that is where, whether it is FIIs or domestic flows or the super HNIs, I think the flows will keep on coming in our market. We need to do our homework. Even fund managers like us, we are also continuously on our toes when to shift our positions into some other sectors, because we have to make the things working every time in all the scenarios. And so some sectoral changes from time to time are bound to happen when you have so many opportunities. And this is where always look at two things. One, attractive valuation. The other is higher earnings growth. And this is where when we run our ACE equity portfolio, this is our flagship product in ICICI Securities. We always look at this aspect that we need to keep the valuations lower. So if you look at Nifty valuation, which is around 20.5 times, we have kept the valuation of this portfolio 16 times. But simultaneously, having higher earnings growth is also important. It is not that only lower valuation. So Nifty value, earnings growth is around 16-15% right now annualized. We are growing at 38-40% in terms of EPS growth. So the performance is bound to happen. When your pricing is lower, your earnings are better. Obviously, the performance is bound to happen. And this continuously we need to look at in whichever segment we are moving in. I think this is how the investment cycle is going to be, and your investment behavior should be going forward.
Absolutely. Again, sir, thank you. Thank you so much for taking out time for us. Hope you'll allow us to learn more from you next time.
Thank you. Thanks for.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risk. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.